Sometimes I think the word game is stuck on almost everything that isn't serious. If you play music, if you draw pictures with a computer, that's not a game. You don't get a score, but we call it games, and there's sometimes this down thing. Don't play games, don't play around on the computer. And yet there's a lot of good can come from game playing.
All right, let's do this. Sorry about the delay. I've got like Bobcat and 2 excavators in our backyard right now. My yard is a mess. So, had to check in on all that. Just a million projects going on. Why? Why? Why are we whining? We just started the stream. Literally. Hi. Anyways, okay, I need to Remo. I need this stream. Stop being crazy. Holy crap. Oh my god. How's everybody doing today? Apparently Remo also found some energy reserves. I just took him out. And you know, because I keep forgetting, let's get this out of the way now. Oh. There's the ears. There we go. You want a treat? You gotta get down. Here, go over here. Come on. Go over here. Sit. Touch. Good boy. Nope, you got... No! Get down! Now you get some jerky. Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, good boy. Good boy. We'll get some later, okay? If I remember at the end of the stream. Yeah. So how's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. It's a little crazy here today, but Remo is now not being tethered as much. We're giving him more free reign out here. So a couple of new things. We always have our tangents. I do have some things here that I got from my suppliers. You guys have been asking. See what it says on the box? They're just generic boxes. I didn't go as far as like, let's design our own box. Reach out to some of our suppliers, and I want to test these out. They look pretty good. I want to test the tools out and stuff. But people have been asking us about crimp ferrule kits, and this is a 1800 piece one and a nice tool. So I'm going to be using these actually on the build of this, which I will be doing this. I'll be doing that build on my personal channel later this week. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll ask the cult of TH Reedy and see what they think, if this should be on the TH Reedy channel or my personal one. And what this is a wine cooler. You guys may be familiar with these. They typically have these racks here to put your wine bottles in. I actually picked this up on Facebook Marketplace for 85 bucks. It's like a $200 wine cooler. And the reason I picked this specific wine cooler is because it's a thermoelectric type, meaning I can rewire it to heat and cool. But I'm not using this for wine, much to my wife's disappointment. Instead, this is the first version. I got to my profile a little, but this is a drawer for this wine cooler. And I printed this off my Ender 5 Plus. My PLA profile is a little stringy, but nothing a hot air gun can't handle. My question is if I'm going to use the black PLA or wood. And what I'm doing is, since I am having a hell of a time trying to find a humidor, I am converting this wine cooler into a humidor because I already have a humidor, and all it is basically a wine cooler with shelves in it, and they usually use Spanish cedar. I am going to put cedar inserts in, so I still have the scent of the cedar. It's good to have Spanish cedar in your humidor because it keeps down on the bugs. I have no more traits for you. So this I designed in Fusion 360 last night. I printed this on my Ender 5 Plus at a 0.3 layer height. And this is PLA. And I lucked out because on the first try, it fits right in, just like that. So, and I can fit up to 5 trays in here. So I just need to print a bunch of these. The question is, do I do them in black PLA or do I get fancy and get some wood PLA to make it look more like authentic? That's where I'm having the hang up here. But in addition to just printing stuff for this, because this by default will not get me to the temperature range I need for the cigars. Cigars like to be around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. This only cools, and the hottest temperature it'll cool to is 66. So I'm going to be putting my own electronics in just like I did the other unit I have. So not only can it cool, but it'll heat, and it's also going to be connected to Home Assistant. So I don't know if anybody would be interested in that, but I use a lot of 3D printed parts to make that happen. I use a ESP8266. I've got a H-bridge driver to control the TEC. And then I also have a couple MOSFETs because there's also going to be lights in here. So there'll be lights behind this panel here. I usually mount them on the door, and it'll light up the inside. I also put some in the back to light up the tray so you can see what the hell you're grabbing. So a lot of 3D printing, a lot of electronics going into here. And I think all in all, once everything's said and done, I think I'll be like $250 into this, and I'll have a smart connected humidor. Can't beat that. Just that humidor itself before I did all the conversions was like $250 alone. And this will actually be, it's a little wider. It's not as tall, but it should hold about the same capacity. And I've got about 400 sticks in that other one. So, yeah, it'd be pretty cool. So, the question is, and I'm going to ask you guys a question, because I am thinking the wood PLA is what I'm going to do for these. What's your guys' favorite wood PLA? I honestly have not bought wood PLA in years. What's a good wood PLA? And do they have ones that are cedar available? That was uncalled for. He was just outside, so he's just being whiny. So like, what kind of PLA would you guys recommend I use for the trays? So I can get about 2 trays out of a 1 kilo spool. So I'll need to buy a couple of them. I usually would go to coax, but they don't have wood PLA last time I checked. I should see if Atomic does. I don't think Atomic does. Let me see. I'm just going to search wood on coax. 0 results. Let's check this here. Wood. Yeah, coax or Atomic doesn't have anything. I'm printing PETG. I've got PLA trays in this same coax black in my current one. It's been working out fine. I was always told 70 degrees Fahrenheit and 70% humidity is the sweet spot for the types of cigars I have. So, yeah. But once it's converted, I can literally set it at whatever temperature I want, and I use Boveda packs for the humidity control, and they work out pretty good. I got the 65% packs. It usually puts me right around 67 for the humidity, which is perfectly fine. So, and they burn well. So let's. There's our tangent. We got these in. I'm gonna test these out. These are, even though these are the same boxes for these two, these are actually different tools and different. These are all different suppliers of the actual contents of these. These are just boxes they sent them in. So, but they're all pretty similar, to be honest. So, but I always like to test the stuff before we order a large quantity and sell it. These look really similar to the Chinese kits I got off Amazon that I use. So if they're the same quality, then, or better, then they'll be fine. So we'll see. So, all right, let's move into the Q&A section, and we will go till at least 5:15 today, since I did start late. I'm not going to shortchange you guys. So, anyways, let's go through here. I'm just gonna give a call out to the members here. We got TJ, Vincent, George Moody, Kyle. Dale's here, Jonathan's here, Justin, Tommy O, Paul the Texan. Is that everybody? That's everybody so far. Oh, Dennis Epley and John Santiago. Oh, there's another one. V Rich. It's really easy to pick out people with the members on here because they're a completely different color. It actually is really easy. So, awesome. I appreciate everybody that is a member. I know a lot of you guys are in the Discord server and chat with me. It's where you get the inside scoop, in our VIP section. So, anyways, a bunch of people were asking when I was asking them what other stuff we should carry. Crimp barrels were one of those things. So, voila, we are working on getting them into the shop. So, but I want to put them through their paces and beat them up a little, bang on them, see how they like the tool mainly, and see how the quality is before I commit to ordering hundreds of them. So, but we're trying to get more stuff so we can kind of be more of your one-stop, shop for 3D printer stuff. So. But anyways, let's see. So, Viquez said he chatted with our sales department. Thanks for helping cutting through the BS that's out there. No problem. If you did the live chat, that'd be Tor. And Tor, I believe, is in the chat right now. So you can actually say hi to him directly again. Mike V ordered an Easy AVL. Awesome. I hope you enjoy it. Let's see. Where are the questions? You guys need to put questions in the chat. Here we go. First question from Jeff Downhauser is asking, will the unified firmware support LDO steppers? I'm building a higher temp enclosure and don't want my Creality steppers to fail. So here's the thing with the LDO steppers. Your firmware, for the most part, doesn't care what kind of steppers you have. What matters when you're putting steppers on is your VREF settings, making sure that you're giving them enough current to be driven correctly, and your steps per millimeter. So a lot of people, they'll switch to 0.8 or 0.9 degree steppers instead of the 1.8. Your standard steppers that come with printers are 1.8 degrees steps. So every step rotates the shaft 1.8 degrees. Some people will switch them to 0.9 degree steppers, and I generally don't recommend doing that on normal machines just because you're going to lose some torque. In general, 0.9 degree steppers do... Pick a quiet toy. In general, 0.9 degree steppers have less torque than your 1.8, unless you're spending a lot of money getting high torque 0.9 degrees. So we recommend sticking with the 1.8, but all you have to do is change your steps per millimeter. So if you're changing degrees, so if you're going from a 1.8 to a 0.9 degree step motor, you're going to double your steps on any axis that you change from a 1.8, which is the standard ones, to a 0.9. So let's say you have 80 steps per millimeter and you go to a 0.9 degree stepper, your steps per millimeter are going to be 160 now, so you just double them. So that's really it. But yeah, it's not really a firmware thing. Your firmware doesn't really care what steppers you have. You got to make sure you're giving them enough current, or making sure you're not overcurrenting them, because maybe your new steppers that you're putting on there handle less current than the stock ones. If you just switch them out, you're potentially going to be putting too much current to the new motors, and you'll know you're giving them too much current because they're going to run hot. But yeah, in general, you don't need to change out your steppers to put them in enclosures. I've got 2 in my office. We've got 13 in the print farm, so we have 15 machines here total. They're all running stock motors or just basic motors. You do not need to change your steppers out to just put in an enclosure. You know, unless the only time you start worrying is when you have a heated enclosure and you're getting like 80, or I'd even say be more conservative, like 7. If your enclosure is going to be 70 plus C, then yeah, you're going to want to look at getting higher temp steppers. And just because you're going and buying LDO brand doesn't mean that they're going to actually hold up to the heat. So you need to check the spec sheets. I said a quiet toy. You're going to want to check the spec sheets to see what the motor's max ambient working temperature is, because the LDOs, even though they're good motors, they're not all super high temp. So just be aware of that. Just because you buy a name brand stepper doesn't mean it's going to perform any better or give you more heat resistance than the than the stock ones. Oh my god, dog. We're barking now. We rarely ever bark, but apparently we're barking now. Come here. Let's see. The next question is from Kyle. What is with you today? The next question is from Kyle Fegley. He said, when printing with coax PLA with a micro Swiss all metal and easy flow 0.4, printing at 230C, is that too hot or should I lower the temp? No, I actually printed this at 230C. On my Ender 5 Plus with a 0.6 easy flow and the stock hot end. Coax does seem to like, in my experience, along with most US made PLAs, they do seem to like the higher temperatures. So if you're getting good print quality, then run with it. I typically run coax hotter, like 220, 230 range. So let's see, here's the next question. So that was easy. Yes, 230 is fine. If your prints are coming out great, don't mess with it. You're probably fine. T Sparky is asking, what's the difference between the 2 easy ABLs other than the size? What are the advantages and disadvantages of 2? And Remo's snoot just touched a button on my HEPA filter over there. So I'll have to fix that later. Dude, lay down. Lay down. But anyways, there's really no difference between them. They both run at the 600 hertz polling rate, so they're both super fast. They're both super accurate. In terms of, like, obviously other than the physical size, in terms of the actual differences, if we're talking spec sheet wise, the 12 millimeter has a shorter detection distance than the 18. So, okay, we're No, I regret giving you that. The come here. Uh, so anyways, sorry. This dog is quite the distraction today. So let's see if I can get through this. So 12 millimeter versus 18 millimeter. The main difference is the detection distance, and what that does, it changes where we're going to calibrate the sensor for the optimal performance. And that optimal distance is 4 millimeters from bed to surface or from surface to tip of the sensor for the 18, and for the 12 it's about 3 millimeters. Now you can calibrate both at 4, they both work well in 4, but in terms of the actual spec sheet, the official distance that the 18 millimeter will detect, not accurately, but the total range is from 0 to 10 millimeters of what it'll actually detect coming in proximity to the sensor, whereas the 12 millimeter is only about 6 millimeters, so it does have a shorter overall height. But the thing is, we have you calibrate in a specific distance because that's where the sensor is most accurate. The sensor super close to the bed is actually less accurate based on all our testing than having it at that 4 millimeter distance. You have like a million bones. Can you get a bone? Can you stop? Let's just see if I can just distract him over here. Anyways, so yeah. But if you're following the installation guide, there's no difference between the performance of the two. The main reason we have the 12 is there's some printers and some hot-end mounts that just can't fit an 18 millimeter. So we have the 12 millimeter as an option. And we outsell the 12 millimeter, or outsell the 18 millimeter versus the 12 millimeters by a factor of almost 4. So for every 4 18 millimeters we sell, we usually sell about 1 12 millimeter. So, but yeah, the bottom line is if your printer can fit the 18, go with the 18. It's also a little cheaper because it's easier to make because it's physically larger. The 12 millimeter takes a little longer to make just because it's so small and harder to get everything into that sensor housing because it's a smaller sensor. So, but let's see. I'm looking at the I'm looking at the other questions here, just searching. Wood PLA and then show the wear from all the prints on EasyFlow nozzle, Tor says. Well, there's not going to be any wear on the EasyFlow nozzle. Wood PLA, I don't think is that abrasive if memory serves correct. It's glow in the dark and like metal fills are really abrasive. In general, though, I do know wood PLAs, you want to print on a 0.6 or larger because the 0.4s are very prone to clogging up just because of those wood particles. So, let's see the next question from Mr. Nello here. He's asking, he says, hi, Tim. I'd like to ask 2 questions. First, is the spray white lithium PTFE spray grease or PTFE grease for bikes Shimano a good brand for lubricating the Z-Rod? I used to use white lithium grease, and it made quite the mess. It would gunk up over time. I either use I usually have it laying around. I don't today. There's a company that makes the 3-in-1 oils, and they have a PTFE one. I use that one the most, but I also have the WD-40 PTFE dry lubricant and the DuPont PTFE dry lubricant. Drop it. You know what that means. There you go. Sit. There you go. Yeah, I would either do the 3-in-1 PTFE lubricant because it's thinner and it spreads out nicer and it's not as greasy like white lithium grease is. But my favorite is actually the dry PTFE, but it is a little messier to apply because it's a spray. So, but it does seem to last longer and it doesn't attract dirt and grime. So. Can we go get any other toy? We have like a million toys in here that are quiet. But apparently we want our Cookie Monster knockoff. So, the giveaway form is open. Michael Hunt, Fiberology Cedar Pine. Okay. I'll have to look that one up and see. Hopefully I can get that here. Cedar Pine. Okay, I have it in the search. I wonder how long he'll do this. Let's see here. And there we go. Chat jump. Remo, come here. Give me the toy. Drop it. Sit. Okay, you guys ready? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Go get it. Anyways. Oh god, this dog. Let's see. Cat jumped, so I'm going back down. Oh my god. Easy wood makes a cedar PLA. I'm just gonna have a million tabs open. How's the treat dispenser coming along? I got the auger print in. That's where it stopped. Paul the Texan, will there be another member Zoom? I missed the last one due to tech issues, but I have a working headset now. I'm going to try to do one this weekend if everything goes to plan. Yeah, I have everything right here. Let's see. Mr. Nell has another question. He said, metric system of common 3D printing. Do you think people involved in 3D printing in the States are getting used to the metric system? I know I am. When I talk to my dad, he's, you know, Mr. Old School American, and I have to convert things when I'm talking to him about doing stuff with the printers. So, yeah, I'm getting used to it. So, let's see here. Off. Let's see. You guys are pretty quiet for the questions today. I'm already at the bottom of the chat. Kyle Flegg is asking, do I know where I can get a replacement X-axis 2020 extrusion for the CR10 S5? The easiest way... Can you sit? Nope, that's the opposite of sit. Sit. The easiest way would pick up just like a length. Misumi, I don't know if Misumi has V-slot, because that's what you want to look for is V-slot. A lot of stuff you'll find out there is T-slot, and V-slot is what those use. And you're talking about the X-axis, yeah, that'd be a 2020. So I would recommend just getting one, and then you cut it down yourself. Or, I mean, some places you can find that you can give them the exact measurement. They'll cut it within like a millimeter or less. I would check out Zyltech.com, Zyltech.com. They carry a lot of stuff like that, a lot of mechanical parts, lead screws, that kind of stuff. Like if I need new lead screws because something's bent, I usually go to Zyltech and they'll cut them for you. So highly recommend checking them out. But if you can't, just find a place that sells 2020 V-slot. If you can't find one that'll cut it to length, then get something a little longer and then just cut it at home. You can cut extrusion down with like a miter saw with a metal blade, so they're fairly easy to cut. But I don't know why you'd be replacing it. Did you like get a banged up one, or just curious? Let's see here. What's the next question here? Come here. Matt is asking, is there any advantage using steel reinforced GT2 belt instead of standard? In my opinion, no. I had bought some at one point. I think it was for my Ender 4, and I tried putting some on my CR10. It actually caused more issues than it solved, because when it goes around those small pulleys, it ends up over time breaking those steel reinforcement parts, and it's very stiff. I did not like it. I always went back to the rubber belt. The rubber belt we carry... Jesus, dog. The rubber belt we carry is fiber reinforced. It's not steel reinforced. But you want to make sure you just get a good quality belt. Something that's rubber with fiber reinforcement. There are some belts out there that have no reinforcement, and they're just like a PU type plastic, and they're more... Usually you can identify those because the back side of them is more shiny, and they're also more rigid. So, dog. Stop it. Okay, you're getting tied up because I need to do the stream. Okay, we're getting tied up. Come here. Okay. He is tethered to the printer rack, and he doesn't have, at least I think, he doesn't have any noisy toys by him. Okay. Let's, no. let's continue on with this. I'm sorry about all the derailments of the canine variety. He'll settle in a second here. Neil Visser, is Ender 5 Plus a good printing? I think you mean printer. But yes, I think it's a good printer. My main thing with that one, I should have drank this before the stream. I mixed it up right before. I did not have any caffeine yet today, so I'm behind. Usually by this time I'm a couple bottles deep, but I was slacking. So, anyways, yeah, I do think the Ender 5 Plus is a good machine. My main complaint with that one was, at least with the earlier models, they really cheaped out on the power supply. Like ours, literally, as soon as we got it, and you told the bed to heat, you would smell like a burning electronics smell. But as far as I know, and don't quote me on this or hold me accountable for this, but what I've been told by other people that bought it recently is that they're shipping them with a Meanwhile power supply now, factory, because they had so many issues with the stock ones. But that was my main complaint. It seems like they've addressed that by changing it out. And my other complaint was the touchscreen on it. So I have my Ender 5 Plus, I've got our Easy Flex. I've got the touchscreen conversion that we sell, the Easy Board. The stock board works fine. I just put the Easy Board in because I wanted to get the Easy Board set up for the Ender 5 Plus, and I just left it in there. And that's one of my machines I use. This was printed on my Ender 5 Plus with a 0.6 nozzle. This was an 80 millimeter second of print, so it's not. I wasn't going for. Apparently, we're not going for autofocus today. There we go. So this was printed on my Ender 5 Plus, 80 millimeters a second, 0.3 layer height, and this is Coax Black PLA. You can see I need to do some tuning on my profile. I got a little bit of stringing, but I also think that could be caused because I do have it in an enclosure, because when you print something this large, even though this is PLA, it's still going to want to curl up, which is why I got an enclosure for my Ender 5 Plus, because when I was printing the trays for my other Humidor I built, they were actually curling up because it was just such a massive amount of surface area. So, but I've been very happy with it. I use that machine quite a bit for larger stuff. I also use it for larger batches. Even with the enclosure now, I can do ABS on it, so I use it for ABS prints as well. I do like the Ender 5 Plus. The Ender 5 Plus is a good machine. I think for the build volume to the price, you do get a good value out of it. My main complaint is just that touchscreen. So, but all in all, knock on wood, I haven't had any major issues with it. You can call the PSU a major issue, but as far as I know, they've changed those out, and we do sell Ender 5 Plus replacement power supplies that are Meanwells in our shop. We carry a small stock of those. Sales, I think they have changed them out to the Meanwells because sales on that product have gone down significantly. So that would tell me they're probably shipping them with Meanwell, so we're seeing less power supply failures. So let's see. Next question is Get Some Sports says, he's got Ender 3 V2, and for the life of me, I can never get it to level. Any help or advice here? I would say my bed leveling never comes out. I'm not sure what you mean by your bed leveling never comes out, but that printer, assuming everything mechanically is fine, you just level it like any other machine. Now, you could have an issue where, and this is not unheard of with the Chinese printers. A lot of times you'll get a bed where maybe the center's higher than the rest of the corners, or it's lower, or it's just warped. That's why people put bed leveling systems on a lot of these Chinese printers, because they put very cheap aluminum beds on there and they're not perfectly flat, especially once you start heating them. So I would recommend watching a lot of bed leveling videos. I'm assuming this is probably your first machine, so I would highly recommend getting familiar with the process of leveling. My favorite thing is you take a business card, you put that underneath the nozzle, and you bring it down, bring the nozzle down, and then adjust the little knobs on the bed until it starts grabbing it. Once it starts grabbing it, you go to each corner and you go around and do that like 2 times at the minimum, sometimes 3, just so you can check to make sure they are all still in adjustment, the correct adjustment after you've adjusted the other corners. Because when you first level a printer, you'll go and do a lot of adjustments on the corners initially because it's so out of level that you'll throw off the other one. So let's say I start in the front left, and by the time I get to the back left, that front left may be too close or too far away. So you got to run around and do all those corners multiple times until you go back and check them and they're all grabbing the paper equally, or the business card. So, and then once you get that done, move the nozzle to the center of the bed and see how tight it is. Now, if it's really far away, but your corners are good, you know you have a warped bed. Or the opposite, if it's really, really tight in the center and the corners are good, then you know the bed's warped. And at that point, your option would be to get a new bed, or do what a lot of people do, which is get an out-of-bed leveling system. Our EasyABL supports the Ender 3 V2. I would highly recommend. Now, while you can use it with the stock screen, you're very limited on what you can do in terms of on-the-fly adjustments, and those on-the-fly adjustments are very nice. And what I mean by that is the baby stepping feature. So, unlike an Ender 3, the Ender 3 and Ender 3 V2, aside from the screen and cosmetic stuff like the tensioners and, you know, the plastics, they're very, very similar. They're almost the same exact machine. They're so similar that you can change the screen on the Ender 3 V2 to the same one the Ender 3 uses and just update the firmware and tell it it's an Ender 3 and it'll work correctly. All the motor directions are the same. All the other values are the same. So that's what we did with ours. We put the older style screen on our Ender 3 V2 to get rid of the color one, and then you get baby stepping. So let's say you're too high or too low, you can just press the button twice and then adjust the nozzle by turning the knob. You don't even have to turn the knobs, and that feature works whether you have an auto bed leveling system like our EasyABL or not. You can do it even without an ABL installed. So, but if your bed is really warped, even after you've leveled it multiple times, maybe your center's too far, it's too close, the options would be to replace the bed and hope you get a flat one, which are, you know, it's hit and miss. It's very hit and miss. Or you just throw an auto bed leveling system on there, and what that's going to do is it takes a mesh of the bed. It'll go through and probe all the corners. It'll probe the corners. It'll take additional readings between the corners, so it'll usually go 1, 2, 3 in the front, come back 4, 5, 6, and then come back 7, 8, 9, and you can go add more points if you need to, but usually 9 points suffices for most printer beds up to like 300 by 300. Hell, even on my Ender 5 Plus, I run a 3x3 grid. So, but it takes that data and then is able to use the Z motors to move the nozzle up and down ever so slightly to compensate for that that error in the bed, whether it's warped or bent or whatever. There's a reason auto bed leveling systems are very popular, and you know, I'd like to think, and feel free if anybody else wants to chime in, I think our EasyABL is one of the easier ones to install. There's no risk of accidentally burning out your board like with the BL Touch, because the BL Touch requires power from your printer board, and if a lot of people will wire the positive and negative backwards power to sensor, and they fry their board. So now you're out usually a sensor, so whatever you paid for the BL Touch, which is usually like $30 to $40, and then a $30 to $40 motherboard or more, depending on what you're running. Whereas EasyABL, we just interface directly with where the Z end stop switch was connected, and even if you wire that backwards, it's not going to damage anything. It's just not going to work until you flip a little switch on our board that flips the wiring around. The EasyABL runs right off your printer power supply, and it's fully isolated. The power circuit is fully isolated from the Z end stop side. So meaning, if you accidentally plug our EasyABL and wire it up into the 110 volt side of the power supply, let's say you're not paying attention, you put it onto the AC, it's going to fry the crap out of the EasyABL, but your board's not going to be affected because there's no electrical connection between the power side of our kit and the ZN stop. So, and biggest thing I think is we actually support our sensors. So the EasyABL, we actually provide technical support for our sensors. The BL Touch, if you buy it, maybe you'll get support from the vendor that sold it to you, but BL Touch does not have the level of support we have with our customers. You know, we include email support with it, so if you have a quick question or you're trying to run through troubleshooting, like, why is this not coming out right, send us pictures, send us your machine info, and our technicians will walk you through it. It's that simple. So, let's see. Paul the Tech, do I have any experience with the Dragonfly hot ends? Dragonfly? I know there's the Dragon ones, and those are currently being pulled from the market because they're infringing on Slice Engineering's patent. So bad to fade us. But I think you're talking about the Dragon hot end. Yeah. Which I think has been being pulled from a lot of different sites because they have they're infringing. I think it was the heat break. They're infringing on there, so I haven't messed with them. I'm not going to buy those just because they clearly knocked off Slice Engineering's design of their heat break and stuff. So, oh, the Dragonfly is the new one that doesn't infringe. Okay. Oh, let's see. Let's Google that. I'm curious. I'm actually not getting many hits on here. Dragon Hot End. Not seeing Dragonfly. Oh, wait. Here it is. Dragonfly. Oh, man. This site that I'm clicking on is taking forever. Oh, this is just like a V6. It's just a V6 with different colors and what does it look like? A copper block? A bimetal heat break? Looks good. I mean, give it a shot. I didn't realize there was a Dragonfly out. Let's see here. When will the Tasmota bulbs be able to be purchased? I'm still working on them. I'm very short-handed right now. Luckily, Monday, not this Monday, next Monday, I have a new guy starting. So, thank God. We still have open positions here. So, if you guys are in the area, we're in Hobart, Indiana. We're hiring for positions right now in our shop. So, and we're willing to train you. Even if you don't have any experience with 3D printers, we can bring you in as a level 1 technician. If you're interested, I will gladly train you personally. I'm the one who does the training on the printers here. So if you want to get your foot in the door, we have positions that allow you to get your foot in the door. If you have a little more experience and, you know, you can work a little more autonomously, we do have a level 2 position open. So yeah, send us your resume. Go to th3dstudio.com/jobs or just go to th3dstudio.com and click jobs at the top. So we don't have any remote positions open right now. Those are all filled, and we don't have plans to add any remote employees. So, yeah. Any comments on the Creality Silver Moon? I've seen this one pop up. Is that the box style one where it's like all enclosed, like they're trying to make it look super pro? Yeah, they are. Yeah, that was the one they paid Joel Telling to review. Yeah, I think it's interesting. They're trying to target, that's more targeted for like the educational market. It's funny that they say it's like a DIY, but they're definitely going more after like the educational or business because, you know, it's enclosed, it's got more attention to detail, it looks fancier, but usually on those machines, you're going to have less flexibility with upgrades and modifications. So, not saying it's impossible, it's just usually when you start getting machines that are more intended to be used as is, they're a little more expensive, they're a little better built, nothing wrong with that. But usually then you get less modder friendly. So, you know, my thing I like with these cheap ones, these cheap printers, yeah, they're not perfect, but I like tinkering with them. So, they claim it can do ABS, but the bed can't do 100C. I'm sorry. One, there's no enclosure on the top as far as I can see. And you need to have 100C on the bed to do ABS reliably. Like that's what you have to do. So, but yeah, Paul, I mean, the Dragonfly looks decent. I like the tapered the heat break design. Give it a shot. But yeah, not the Dragon Hot End. I wouldn't buy that just because of the patent infringement thing. So, Peter Astori says he has an Ender 5 Plus. He's getting Z-wobble and other problems with wall quality. Tried other things, palm nuts, flexible couplers. So Z-wobble is usually caused by your, what's what I'm looking for? Your lead screws being bent. So if your lead screws are bent, you're going to have to replace your lead screws. I don't have Z-wobble on mine. It could also be a mechanical issue. So on that printer, you've got 4 blocks per side that hold those linear rods that the bed rides up and down. Make sure those are all aligned. Make sure the bearings are moving smoothly so you can actually unbolt those bearings from the actual bed carriage. Run them up and down on the linear rod and see if it runs smooth. If it runs smooth, then you know that's not the issue. If it doesn't run smooth, it's kind of crunchy or it's kind of like it moves and then hangs up a little bit, but you can push through it. It could be that the bearing is bad. So I would check that out. That's Z-wobble is usually like 90+% of the time. I'm not going to say 100% of the time because there could be outlying issues. But That Z wobble is usually caused by a physical issue with the machine. The most common problem is that your Z rods are not straight. I would also check to make sure that everything's lined up. Make sure your motor is aligned with when the lead screw's in there. Make sure it's all aligned and straight going up and down, because maybe you got one where they tap the hole slightly off, or the motor mounts moved slightly and it's putting the lead screw at an angle, which is also going to cause problems. So yeah. Oh, I see David Petzel's in here, so is Nemo Griff. What's up, Dave? Hope your restaurant's doing better now. Kevin is saying, I'm using the Ender 3 V2 with Easy ABL fast loading. Is a 5x5 much better than 3x3? Since moving to Easy ABL coax stringing more than in the past. Well, the firmware, the Easy ABL is not going to change your print settings. That's just, I hate when people do that, because they're like, oh, I put the Easy ABL on here, and then like shortly after I started getting more stringing. That's going to be a profile issue, or the PLA is wet, or whatever you're printing with is wet, or maybe you just got a bad batch or something. The Easy ABL doesn't do anything other than level your bed. That's all it does. So anything with stringing, you want to up your cooling, increase your travel speed, and you can also try dropping your print temperature down, because printing too fast or printing too hot can also cause stringing. But in terms of the 5x5 versus 3x3, for the Ender 3 V2, you're perfectly fine running a 3x3 unless your bed is really, really warped. I do not run any of my machines that are smaller than 300 by 300 with anything but 3x3 grid. So the Easy ABL probe points option, it's just 3. So let's see here. John Santiago says, I've got 3 printers on separate Raspberry Pis. I keep losing network connections sporadically. Each printer has 2 easy plugs, one for printer, one for lights. Usually restart of Octopi fixes it, but... Oh, hang on. Does he have more typed out somewhere? It cut you off. Where's the rest of it? Oh, in chat, Joan. Hang on, I gotta go back. I keep losing network connections sporadically. So we actually had this issue on our print farm, and it's usually on Raspberry Pis that have been up for a while, like set up for a while. We're talking like 6+ months, a year, year and a half, some are even 2 years old. We actually started having to use what's called Deoxit, DEOXIT, on the Ethernet jacks to clean the contacts, because it was actually like getting like an oxidation or corrosion on them just from being there for so long, which is weird. I haven't seen that before. I don't know what the cause is, but we kept having them drop off, and, you know, replugging the network cable would sometimes bring them back on. And power cycling them sometimes brought it back on. But when we would power cycle them, we'd go over there and physically disconnect it, which were then, you know, messing with the cables, which would then move the network cable. But on some of them, we did have some where the Pi boards were defective. They just stopped working. That's not a common issue. The other common thing is either the Pi OS just got corrupted and we re-image them on the same card and it'd be fine. And others, the SD card just wore out. I mean, SD cards are they're not great for a lot of reads and writes over and over again. They're more for, you know, like cameras. You take a picture or a video, it stays on there. They're not being written to and read from over and over again. Modern micro SD cards do seem to be better at that, especially when you have like the class 10 ones. So, but yeah, we started since we started using the Deoxit stuff. Disconnect the power. We clean the ends of the network cable with it. We clean the network port out. They haven't dropped off since. Aside from the ones that were a physical issue, like the board was just old. You know, most of them were like Pi 3Bs. They were almost 2 years old. I got my use out of them. We just switched them out and everything's been fine. I'll usually switch out the SD card as well, because I look at it this way. If the board's going out and the SD card's the same age, I might as well just change it out. You know, they're inexpensive. I'd rather just have it up, and then I'll usually throw those in the part bin if the board does still work somewhat, and I'll just put like a note on it, like bad ? But yeah, so I know your pain. Especially when we have so many machines like we do, it starts to get to be a pain. So we start doing stuff, like I said, the Deoxit seems to be working well. We'll see if it lasts long term, but it's supposed to keep the contacts cleaner for longer. and kind of like put a nice coating on them so they don't get oxidized. So what's the next printer live stream you're going to do? I don't know. What do you guys think I should do? I have my board here. Oh, no, I forgot. It's not like tilted up. Okay, so I've got 3 printers here that are still in the box. I got a Solval SV02, an SV03, and I have the VoxLab Aquila. Which one do we want to do? I'll do one this week. Which one do you guys want? Let's do a poll. Hang on, don't type in the chat. Poll new. I'm typing it up right now. Give me a sec. I think this is how you do it. Is that the right syntax? There we go. I did it correctly. I can never remember if I'm doing the right one. I'm gonna vote. So these are 3 I have, and these are all ones we purchased. So, the ones that people send me, the only difference when we get ones that companies send us to it, we usually bump those to the front of the queue just out of respect, so they get done quickly. But the ones we buy, they usually get pushed off. But I'll do one this week. Vote right now. I just posted the link right there. Well, Nightbot did, I should say. And then we'll see. And then I'll get it scheduled. The question is, do we want it to be a day stream or do we want it to be an evening stream? I can do either. I just need to schedule it. So while we're waiting for those votes to come in, I'm going to go and see. Vikyaz is asking, what fans would you recommend for the Ender 3 V2? So we carry fans for the control box, the power supply, the hot end, both on the cold end fan, the one that cools the heatsink, and the layer fan. We have all replacements for those that will last longer and be a little bit quieter than the OEM ones. So we have all those. If you're putting an aftermarket mount on the hot end and you want to upgrade your layer fan, we also carry what are called 50-15 size blower fans. The Ender 3 V2 uses a 24 volt fan, so make sure you're getting any fans that are 24 volts. If you're also not sure, if you're on our site during the day, our normal business hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central to 5 p.m. Central Time. And if there's a little circle icon that's blue with a little chat bubble in the lower left-hand corner, that's our live chat. That's a real person that works for us. It's usually Tor. 99% of the time, it's our guy Tor, who's out of California, and he'll answer any questions. And he actually knows what page you're on because our chat system will tell him, okay, they're on this page, so he can give you feedback and be like, okay, I have this printer. Well, this stuff I'm looking at, and you can send him links, you can send him pictures, and he can verify compatibility. So. But we have on the site different categories. So if you go to our main shop page and scroll down, you'll actually see, you can just click the picture of your printer, and those categories, anything in those categories are parts that we have verified work with that printer, whether it be the right voltage, it's an OEM replacement part, or it's an upgrade part, that kind of stuff. So, but let's see here. The Sansa is asking, what ambient temp do you print ABS in? Typically, so we don't have heated enclosures, we just have enclosures. And typically, those enclosures get up to around 45 degrees Celsius inside with just the heat from the printer and the bed. And that seems to do the trick. So, what about Dogecoin? I had some Dogecoin, kicking myself in the ass because I sold it a couple months ago at 6 cents a coin. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to blame Dusty at our Discord server because Dusty told me, he's like, Dogecoin's not going to go anywhere. You should sell off. I was like, I should. Dusty, don't take investment advice from Dusty in our Discord server. Elliot K. Elliot, why are you always asking about Prusa printers? Like every single time. Are you a sock puppet? Maybe DPT was right. They're infiltrating. I think Prusa printers are fine. I don't think they're the best. I'd rather have an upgraded Ender 3 over a Prusa. We have a Prusa MK3S out in the shop. It works. I was just a little salty that I had to spend another $200 something to put a bond tech on it to get rid of the extrusion issue that they have. So, but yeah, it's been a decent printer. I just wouldn't buy another one because it's like if I gotta put another $200 in a printer, I spent $1,000 because we bought a pre-built one. I didn't feel like building it. And then their support's like, oh, you built it wrong. I'm like, did I? Because you guys built it. But anyways, yeah, they're okay. I think you get more bang for your buck if you're somebody that can upgrade a printer like an Ender 3. The Ender 3 Pro is my go-to printer. If somebody asks me, hey, best printer under $300, I'm sure you guys see that. You're going to get Ender 3 Pro from me all day. Not Ender 3 V2, Ender 3 Pro. I like the Ender 3 Pro better because it doesn't have that color screen. If the Ender 3 V2 came with the same screen as the Ender 3, I'd be recommending the 3 V2 over the Pro. But yeah. So let's see here. Come on, chat, just jump. There it goes. There it goes. Let's see, and I'm gonna check in on the. You guys got just a couple more minutes to vote on the straw poll here. I'll post it one more there if you guys want to vote as to which one is going to be the next one for this week. I'm thinking I gotta look at the calendar. Well, you guys will see it when I schedule it on YouTube. Let me look at my calendar here. I actually have a meeting tomorrow. I've got actually a lot of meetings this week. It'd probably be Tuesday or Thursday. So tomorrow or Thursday, I'll talk with the warden and see what she wants to do, if we're gonna hang out tomorrow or not. We'll see. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, Tuesday or Thursday, I'll post it on the channel and you guys can see. I'll also post it out on all our social media stuff. Be like, hey, we're having this printer at this time on this day. Right now, it's looking like the Voxelab Aquila, or however you say that, is going to be the next one, which is right there. And then I'm going to use this information to schedule what will be the one after that, because it looks like the SVO3 is in the second. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to getting more people on our team here so I have more time to do videos and do streams and stuff. But right now it's not on the cards. So let's see. People are saying night stream. Up, chat jumped. I'm trying to find the other stuff here where the chat was. Where were we talking about? Get Some Sports says he's got an easy ABL. He used it on a machine, which I no longer have, but yeah, you can put that on your Ender 3 V2. Just make sure it's a version 3.1 or higher, because the older versions, the version 2 and 1, were not 24 volt compatible. Only the V3s and higher are 24 volt compatible. So make sure you have one. If you have an older one, then it's not going to work with that. But V3, V3.1, and Pro, those are all 24 volt compatible. So let's see here. Doc Brown said he's using the easy config for my easy board. I compiled the firmware. I've compiled firmware where I ended up with a bed leveling submenu about 2 months or more ago, but since then it's not there. Am I missing something in the config? The bed leveling should just be level corners. If you're doing manual leveling, it should be level corners. If I'm not sure quite what you mean. If you were using like mesh leveling or something, even if you use our easy config on our website for the easy board, or if you use the source code, you can download your configuration.h file. And I recommend, if you guys do that, even if you use the website, save that, because then you can go back and see if you want to update to a newer version. You can see what options you had set in the previous one, and then translate those or transfer those over to the new one. So you can make sure that your you're enabling all the same options you had before. So, but there's the level corners is still in there, which would be if you have, no ABL probe, you can go through a wizard that will have you level the corners. And I believe we have that on also, the level corners option, even if you have an ABL probe, because people don't always solid mount their bed. So, will you help with relocation? Not for a level 1 person, but level 2, maybe. It really depends on how far you are. Like, honestly, how far you are, and how much it would cost us. But if I can find somebody that can hit the ground running with even just printers, not even design work, even just like, hey, here's our print farm, go for it, and get them running and keep them running. I'd be interested, because that's the main thing right here, is trying to find, in general, people that, I can set a printer down in front of them and be like, hey, this is broken, fix it. Like, oh, it stopped printing. I think it's a nozzle clog. I don't know. Look at it and figure it out. That's kind of what we're looking for. Like, that's, you want to get hired quickly here. If you're in the area and you can, I can give you a printer, be like, hey, that printer stopped printing. I think it's a jam. Maybe the hot end fan went out. I don't know. Take a look at it and fix it. And I don't have to hold your hand. You'll probably get hired on the spot, as long as you pass a background check. We do background checks here. So, Neil Visser, how do I get access to the VIP channels on Discord? So if you're a Cult of TH3D member, there's 2 levels on the YouTube members. There's the caffeine fund, which gets you the emojis, priority replies. I actually go through and I check to see if there's any of you guys that are members. I check every single day, twice a day, to see if you guys left any comments on the videos. And then every other day I go and check for everybody else's. There's a lot of other comments from other people, but I do make an effort to check comments left by people who are supporting us here on the channel. But for the VIP channels on the Discord, you can either do a nitro boost on our server and then you'll get access to the VIP. But if you're a YouTube member, you link your Discord account to the YouTube account that you use to become a member on this channel, and then it'll automatically add the role. And you have to be the Cult of TH3D level, which is the $4.99 a month one, and then you'll get access to that. And the VIP section of our Discord server has a couple different roles in it. There's Discord level VIPs, and there's 3 text channels and 1 voice channel. So there's a beta testing channel, so you'll get access to the beta testing channel for if I'm working on new hardware stuff, software, that kind of stuff. We post in there. There's a channel called Real Talk, which is a general discussion. We can basically talk about anything. We try to keep politics out of there. We do have a specific channel. If you want to talk politics, we tell everybody to go there, because we don't want to see it in the other channels clogging everything up. And then we have that only Cult of TH3D members can see in the VIP section, called Cult of TH3D. So only YouTube members at that level will be able to see that. So, but I spend a lot of time in there, so you'll see me popping in and posting pictures of different stuff. So, and just chatting or complaining about stuff. Vincent Robo is asking, where do I post a picture on Discord so I can share on the live stream? There is a live streams channel under the discussion section. So, and I think I see your post here. And it looks like I'm assuming this is you, because the username is that's the same. Okay. Let me switch main monitor. So, Vincent is just showing off how level he got his bed. I'd say that's pretty damn good. I would not make any more changes to your bed. That's really good. I think we can all agree on that. We are almost out of time, so I'm just going to see how many I can go through here. I feel like when we do these streams, I should have like a 10-15 minute of just us hanging out and BSing. Extend that tangent section a little more, because people get more chatty as we're going on in the streams. I think it's because YouTube notifications are coming out. The messed up part is I don't even get notifications for our own channel. I'm subscribed to our own channel on my personal YouTube account. I don't even get notifications from it. It's a pain. I'm trying to figure out a way to notify people of live streams, but yeah. Let's see. Dark Claw's asking, PIE sheet, smoother textures, one better than the other, or is it just preference? It's just preference for the most part. well, in my opinion, I believe it's just preference. I use both. I do find myself gravitating more towards the textured now. This was printed on a textured sheet, so you can see how it looks. It gives it a nice effect. I like printing LCD housings face down on textured sheets, which all of our LCD housings that are printed in that orientation where the face is on the face is down, we print them all on the textured sheets. So, but I have both. I have the smooth, I've got the textured, I've got a mixture of both in here. People really seem to like the textured ones, but there's also a lot of customers that really like the smooth ones. So I think the main thing is I would say that the textured are a little more durable than the smooth, because the smooth is actually a PEI sheet applied on top of the steel plate, whereas the textured is baked on there. They both last a long time as long as you're not, careless and run your nozzle into it, or, have your bed completely unlevel and it goes and digs in. That'll damage either of them. But yeah, it's more personal preference. So Redline's saying, what would cause EasyBoard to not save my Z offset after I do the baby stepping and then save settings? I turn it off and on again, and then everything's gone. Maybe I don't understand the feature well. The offset should get stored if you, let's say you bring it up, you're doing a print, you adjust the offset, you then go back to configuration, hit store settings. That will save it. If it's not saving, what I recommend is go and do a reset of your EEPROM completely and make sure you're on the latest version of the firmware just to rule out any issues. You might be doing something wrong. I'm not sure. If you want to rule out to make sure you're absolutely not doing anything wrong, do the baby stepping and then run an M503 and see what... It's the M203 line. I think it's the M203. No. M851. M851. That if you do an M503, it'll spit out a whole bunch of information. If you scroll up in your terminal, you'll see an M851. And you'll look at M851 and there'll be X, Y, and then a Z. The Z is your offset. So you can see that should match what is on the what was on the baby stepping on the screen. And then you can send an M500 and that will save it. So if for some reason it's not storing from the LCD, you can try send the M500. I would always, anytime I have any weird issues where like an offset's not saving or the EEPROM's not saving correctly, I always do a firmware update and then I reset the EEPROM. And then after you reset the EEPROM, I always do the store settings. Do the store settings after I do a reset EEPROM. So that'll force it to overwrite. You can then power cycle and everything should be back to defaults. Your probe offset should be 0. But sometimes the EEPROM structure can get corrupted, and doing a reset wipes out that whole range of memory. So it starts over, and then when you hit store settings again, it will then save a fresh EEPROM table to the memory. So, but yeah, we're past here. I'm gonna see if there's any other quick questions before we wrap up. See if there's any questions from the members here. I'm trying to see here. Kevin is asking, is there a way to adjust the G-code to have a longer purge line on the side after level switch? Since switching unifying, the purge is much smaller. Look at the code. That's not in the firmware. That is the starting code. Kevin, I see you are a YouTube member, so I'm gonna post in the Cult of TH3D. Are you I don't know if you're in the Caffeine Fund or if you're in the Cult of TH3D. If you're in the Cult of TH3D, then I can send you the steps. I gotta look them up. It's not too complicated, but you're just gonna adjust where it starts the line, ends the line, and how much it's extruding. So, but I use the same starting code on all of our machines here, and that's the Easy ABL starting code that's in our help center. Let's see here. Are there any more member questions here before I move forward? You notice how he's quiet now? You can see a little paw sticking out right there. Yeah, Scott said, yeah, reset the EEPROM might make you need to do M303. You mean 503? What is M303? I can only remember so many damn G-code commands, and if I don't use them every day... Oh yeah, M303, that's a PID. Yeah, so if you reset your EEPROM and you did a PID tune, you're definitely going to what's it called? Need to redo your PID. Scott Milad is in, can you clean the texture plate with acetone? I would not recommend using acetone to clean any plates. I always use 99%. 90 plus works, 70 plus if you're in a pinch. But I always just use IPA. So, but yeah, like I said, we're past the time. I wanted to go till 5:15 because we started 15 minutes late because I was trying to make sure all these projects were getting done. But I'm not gonna forget because watch those paws. Watch those paws right here. Do you want this? You want some jerky? Yeah, you like that. It's good shit. Yeah. Yeah. Stop. Yeah, we're gonna give the puppers treats. I remembered. Okay. What are you doing? He's like moving his feet back and forth. Sit. Shake. Come on. Nope, that's not shake. That's the opposite. Shake. You know shake. Come on. There we go. Oh, come on. Try it again. Close enough. Close enough. Close enough. There we go. There we go. It's just like crumbs. I don't like eating the crumbs of the beef jerky, so guess who gets them? It's you. It's you. We're gonna save these, okay? But I appreciate everybody who stopped by. Look at the size of this dog already. We're over 40 pounds already. At 4 months old, we're only 4 months old. Well, a little bit over 4. Just a little bit over 4. So, anyways, I appreciate everybody that stopped by. I hope you guys have an awesome Monday. Hope you guys learned something. And I will catch you guys on the next stream. I will talk to the wife and see when we're going to do the printer stream. So, if she doesn't want to do anything tomorrow night, then it will be tomorrow night. If she does, then it'll be Thursday night. So, and we'll be doing it looks like it'll be the VoxLab. Let me see. Check the poll. Yep, it'll be the VoxLab Aquila. And I will make sure to post it out once we get it scheduled. I'll know in about an hour. So, he just really? Can you say excuse me? That was not very gentlemanly of you. Anyways, you guys all have a good day. And, yeah, happy printing.